Okay, everybody good? Questions for Mike? Everybody hear me? We have questions for Mike. Brett, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, another game where you guys they go on a little bit of a run there in the first half. They get up by 10 or 11 points, and you guys never really got back in it. They kind of stretched it. What are you seeing happen when those teams start to do that?
They start to get like turnovers. They start to score off of our turnovers, and they start to get like easy buckets in transition. We just gotta start to lock in more as a team. Notice when they're going on that run and kind of calm ourselves to try going a run of our own.
Michael, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, just curious what Kenny said to you after the game. Obviously, another difficult loss. Is it a similar message, or was there something new today?
It's a similar message. Like he's telling us, is we just gotta find that fight. Game after game, we let dudes get on the run, and then we kind of just lay down a little bit. We just telling us that we gotta find that fight to continue to try to come back into the game or go on a run of our own and counter theirs.
Brett?
Mike, how does it strike you that these same problems, it's 9 games now, you guys are 0-9, and a lot of the same things, the turnovers, Kenny's talking about fight. How do you guys kind of get out of that cycle?
You just gotta look as a individual player, each individual player, you just gotta look at yourself in the mirror and say, are you giving 100%? Are you completely bought into doing the change and being a change? And once that happens, I think we'll see a change. But like you just gotta look, each and every player gotta look themselves in the mirror to see what they can do better and go out there and practice and try to change it and then bring it over to the game.
Michael, do you have another one?
Yeah, I'm curious, Mike. Do you guys notice, some progression, some improvements at all? I mean, it's when we're looking at the big picture at the final score in the game, from the outside in, it's difficult to notice. But as a player, can you feel forward progress in certain areas?
I feel like we got better today with our assists. Like most of our games, we haven't had that much assists. We moved the ball. Guys hit shots. We were getting in the lane, kicking out to each other. Just being aggressive, getting into the paint, and making plays for each other. So I feel like we made progress in that. But we gotta make progress in other areas. Like we gotta be better defensively. Yeah, I that's one of the things like I've seen as a player myself that we got better at today.
Rick Bozich?
Yeah, Mike, you guys were pretty good from 3 today. I think 9 for 21. Was it more of an emphasis today to shoot shots from the perimeter, or is that just what developed?
Well, if you really like look how Florida State plays, when you get into the lane, the off-ball defenders kind of like really just all turn their head to the dude that's in the paint and try to go in and get at their ball or rack at their ball to try to create turnovers and be aggressive in the passing lanes. So coming into the game, the coaches told us that dudes off the ball need to slide in the spots, call for the ball, be ready to shoot and shoot it confidently. And I think that we did that. So yeah, like Florida State is a team that really likes to get turnovers off ball pressure and on ball pressure. And if you attack them and get into the paint and guys move and shoot the ball confidently, you can, as you've seen today, like you can knock down shots and be successful in that way.
Any more questions for Mike? All right, thank you, Mike. All right, we'll have Coach Payne here in just a second. Thank you. Okay, everybody, we got Coach Payne here. I'll let Coach open us up and then just go ahead and raise your hand for questions. Coach, whenever you're ready.
First of all, I thought that credit goes to Florida State for playing a really good game. The big fella in the middle, I don't know how many shots he blocked, but he affected the game even on the ones that he didn't block. He was a force in there. Our game plan coming into the game was to get the ball in the lane and create offense for us. And not to drive the score, but to try to make the extra pass. Probably was the most assists we had this season at 14, which was pretty good. But then there was another piece to it. The other piece is they out-rebounded us. The other piece is they out-competed us. And we have to take that personal and address those issues. And I thought the first half we did some good things defensively. But then as we got tired or as the game went on, obviously they're playing at their home court. You have to be focused. You have to concentrate. You have to fight. And you go through it. Now, for me, when I look at the stats, I see minus 22 James, plus minus 20, minus 21 Brandon. What was it? 2 points. And how many rebounds? I can't see. 6 rebounds. Sid, Jalen, L need more production from our leaders to help us get through tough games, road games. So,
Brett Dawson, go ahead.
Kenny, I know you've said before you're not discouraged, but I wonder what it does, just sort of mentally, and what you think maybe it does to a team mentally, that the conversation is so similar after games. It's about competitiveness, it's about fighting, it's about pride, and the turnover issues. That so many of the issues are the same after 9 games.
and your question is what? How does
Just what does that do to you, and what does it do to a team? You think that it seems to just be the same issue over and over and over?
For me, again, I see the 14 assists, and I can say, okay, they tried. But then I see the recurring theme to me is when they go on a run and we come down and no pass in a 3, or 1 pass in a 3, or a turnover and they make a basket, or a bad pass or pass to the inside hand knowing that they're pressuring us. We start the half, Brandon throws it and says Rose didn't step over to come get the ball. Like, those things are frustrating for me, but I know that they're learning, but they have to step up if you're going to win in Division I high major basketball. You got to fight. You have to concentrate. You have to focus. You have to know your job and do your job.
Rick Bozich.
Yeah, Kenny, watching the game, when the second half started, they showed you on the sideline with the grease board showing those guys what you wanted them to do. And Brandon takes the ball out at half court, and you just talked about it. And L breaks into the back court, and he kind of felt the pressure of the 5-second count. You don't even get the ball inbounds to start the half. I mean, is that just them not listening or executing, or how discouraging is a play like that?
Very discouraging. To be honest, I wish I knew the answer because some of these turnovers, some of these miscues, for me, I've never really seen before. And I'm trying to free them and say, I need you to play with confidence. I don't need you apprehensive about playing a team that's going to pressure you. Basically, this is the way Florida State plays. Is the best game for players because they don't want you to run offense. They want you to play free flowing. They want you to get the ball and try to run offense against something that they're not allowing you to catch passes. They're not. So in my mind, I look at the game and say, okay, The strategy was, let's create a spacing and let's attack him. And let's attack the big fella, get him away from the basket and drive the ball. But you have to know you can't drive the ball to score. You got to drive the ball to create for a teammate. So, you know, I hate to keep saying it, we're beating a dead horse, but, you know, we will continue to work on it. We'll continue to push. We'll continue to try to figure it out, try to get more confident, try to get more competent in what we're doing and knowing our jobs, try to be tougher and stepping over and catching passes, not panicking in traffic and just throwing up a shot, staying connected on the inbounder so that when he gets screened that you can fight over the screens. Instead, we give up 3 or 4 layups on that. There's a lot to it, Rick, that, you know, we just got to continue to understand.
Brett, go ahead.
Kenny, I know they're a tough team around the rim to score on, but there was about a minute there where Sid kind of looked like the guy we saw some last year. I wonder what you saw from him in that little stretch, and if you've seen anything in practice away from games that indicates to you he's making some progress.
You know, it's hard for me to evaluate Sid when, you know, I know that he wants to play well. We do a lot of conditioning. That has to be the first priority. In order for Sid to have success, he has to be in better shape. He has to play with more energy. And that's something that we've been trying to address. And he spends time doing extra conditioning on top of the conditioning that we already do. But when I look at Sid and I see that play, I need 25 minutes of those plays that he made in that 1 minute span.
Any other questions? Michael, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, question for you. You're talking about attacking in lane and dishing it out and getting the ball to an open shooter, which makes sense. But there are obviously some situations where, like, let's say L penetrates the lane, he sees a guy might be getting open behind the 3-point line, and can dish it to him, but nobody steps in front of him, and he's got a wide open layup. Does he need to
want him to take?
learn the
I want him to take that layup.
Yeah.
So-
How do you learn, or how can he understand when to dish and, okay, it's wide open, I should take this? Because it seems like he might be confused at times.
Well, you know, for a natural scorer, obviously your first instincts are to try to score. And I need that to be his first instinct. And we try to simulate this in practice by saying, okay, L, this next 5 minutes of the scrimmage, this next 10 minutes of the scrimmage, I just want you to facilitate. I want you to create shots for your teammates. Buy into that. And there are days in practice where he does a good job. But when you are pretty much the one player that gets the ball in the lane 60, 70% of our possessions, that's hard. And over time, you get tired. So 2 things. One, I need him to recognize where the defenses are, to not process the game. You use your instincts and read the game as your instincts come. And I'll give you an example. We run a middle ball screen with the 5-man. They're a big guy. He comes off. And as he's coming off, instead of attacking the big, he goes sideways and he dribbles 2 times in front of him before he attacks. Then it's going to be clogged up. If you come off the screen full speed and trust your instincts and look to attack the legs of the big guy who's 7'4" or 5", whatever he is, you'll find that you can get around him. When he did that, he created 3 or 4 shots that we needed. When he didn't do it, we got a turnover, or we didn't get the pass that we needed. We didn't get downhill. He didn't read it correctly. That's the first part. The second part is everybody knows L. Ellis is leading us in scoring, so they're going to collapse on him, trap him, double team him. So he has to do a better job of reading how the game is being played versus him. And that's a lot. That's a lot. And it goes to why great players don't want to be on a team by themselves. They want to play with other great players so they don't have to handle and deal with all of that by themselves and impact winning by themselves. So
I got time for a couple more. We'll go Brett next.
Yeah, Kenny, speaking of L, you had talked a little bit about trying Hersey with him. It seems like today you were trying a little bit more of Fabio, and we've seen a little bit more of that. What have you liked about Fabio and maybe about that combination?
I thought today, Fabio, first time he went in, he was excellent. His energy was great. He created, he listened. He drove the ball down, and one time he dumped it off to Rose, who got a dunk. You know, Fabio's an interesting kid in the fact that he's very confident. He plays off his instincts. He's gotten better. He's starting to listen a little bit more. In no way am I going away from Hersey, but I need guys that can come into the game and play with a fire, bring some desperation, bring some assertiveness, be the aggressor. Don't always look to be on your heels to make sure that you're not making a mistake. You can't play this game like that. You have to play this game with reckless abandon, but being smart. As my old coach Denny used to say, be quick, but don't hurry.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right.